crisis-driven security. And for this, I would like to invite Mr. Suresh Iyer, who is the co-founder and CEO at CyRaacs. Giving a brief introduction, Mr. Suresh has over 30 plus years of experience in information technology, IT security, risk management, and privacy areas. He has served in CXO position in many global organizations like 𝗕𝗲𝗁𝗀 Financials, Altisource, 𝗕𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗀𝗃𝗲, eFunds, and Bank of America. With this, please welcome Mr. Suresh with a huge round of applause.
Hi, am I audible? You've been bombarded with a lot of information on various technologies, on various approaches, and some of the best practices some great leaders here have shared. So what is this session about? While each of your practitioners have taken great initiatives to improve your security posture, what's the single one thing that your board is asking? Am I safe? Now, somebody told, it's an esoteric discussion to say that you have, a completely fail-safe zone. Yeah, absolutely. We live in a world of uncertainties, and not just in security. It applies to many, many aspects. We as security practitioners are adding a layer of this one to say that it's only in security that you have uncertainty. It's prevalent everywhere. Now, the way to streamline that uncertainty to say to your board, look, this is where we were, this is where we need to be, and this is how we will approach it. That's metrics-driven security in a way that. So why measure? If you don't measure, you don't know where you are. Anything and everything that you want to improve on, and I may sound a little philosophical here, anything that you want to improve on, if you measure, that's where you can move forward. So security posture is no different. Unless you measure where you are, unless you have the confidence to report where you are, it is not possible to make a progress from a place where you are to a place where you need to go to a target state. It's absolutely important whether it is so that excellence is not something that is given as a virtue to somebody. Excellence is something that is practiced continuously. So excellence is achieved by practicing things continuously, and one of the ways to get that is to make sure that you measure where you are. And we are going to talk about just that measurement component here. Look at the change in threat landscape. Every possible, so the dollar is having an effect because there is US elections. There is an impact to that economy. There is a Russian-Ukraine war which has happened. That has changed the components of the economy. To every aspect of that is having an impact to the way companies can spend or their ability to spend. Combined with this, regulations are getting more intense, and more rightfully so, because the governments are involved in making sure that the digital world is in a better world. And how to do that? They need to have a good regulatory framework. So what was okay to have is now a must have, and that's happening almost in all places. Digital transformation. So I think this has been discussed, the work from home and the digital transformation have had a tremendous impact in the way to given nightmares to the security practitioners here, but you all come out of it hale and healthy, and you can move on from here. Take the component of digital payments. Digital payments has made one dramatic increase. So the entire financial instruments which were controlled in a different way now are in the digital space. Therefore, more controls need to be adopted. So this is all I'm trying to build about is this has made a tremendous difference to the way we are doing banking, we are doing our day-to-day retail payments, to everything. You know, there's a major change that's happened here. Cybersecurity attacks, software vulnerabilities, compromised credentials, weak passwords, these are possible reasons why a breach has occurred in some places. Now, while these breaches have happened, each of them have a reason why the breaches have happened. Because software vulnerabilities were due to a failure of practice of secure SDLC practices, secure coding review, threat modeling not done, or compromised credentials, you don't have the MFA in place, you don't have the EDR in place, or you have not configured the behavior analytics enough in your environment. Passwords, every aspect of it has linkages to some technology, and those technologies have not been implemented very well, or have not been deployed, or have not been configured right in most of the. So these are the possible scenarios when you take the top 50 breaches. You will easily circle back to one of these 10 or some more, but essentially the component that the layer behind it is the underlying technologies that have been used for those exploitations. So essentially, now I'll go straight into the metric portion. So let's take access control. There is something called a basic access control, but you have a place to move to. So you can say today that I am at this level of security posture, but I want to move to this posture, and I'm going to take a time to do that. So this is going to be a 12-month effort. This is going to be a 24-month effort. And during this phase, this will be the investments required. During this time, there will be issues that arises out of the non-implementation of these technologies. These, if given to the board very clearly, the security practitioner's life is a little more simple. Now, how many of us really have that? Do we have that time with the board? I believe that it is increasing now. You're getting enough time with the board. As you get time with the board, what do they ask? Am I safe? But it's also important that you need to say how you move the posture on each of the domains from one place to the other in a very concerted manner, and to say that there's going to be an investment that's going to be from this time to this time. So April I have the budgets. Some companies may say that January I have the budget, so I'm going to say during this time I'm going to spend this year in so many technologies. These technologies have a implementation cycle of 3 months, and those technologies again have the result of improved posture in terms of reduced. So there is some impact that you can start building and measuring things across. And again, so for each of the controls, you can go into various details of how the steps of progressions can be made. This aspect is simple. If you break it down in this way, then it is much easier to go to the board or to the CFO and to say that this is the budget required, rather than going and saying, look, this problem is there and therefore I'm going to fix this. So that becomes a very heartburn approach, because they don't have an option but to approve. And every other aspect of the needed spend is curtailed because they have spent, you have gone and given a doomsday scenario to implement something very, very, very important. And maturity again changes by various factors. What is applicable to one industry is not applicable to the other. Whether privacy requirements are there or not makes a very important consideration to say what level of maturity is required or not. And the scale of business again has a very big impact. The brand and the other aspects have a big impact on the scale of business. A 10,000 crore company versus a 50 crore company can have a huge difference in the way their posture can be, and therefore one need not maintain one, there is no one size fit all here. Even though they could be in the same industry, these factors can make a big change. And then intellectual property rights and the R&D that they hold and what level of information, they also contribute to the maturity factors. Now, against these maturity factors, you can go ahead and set yourself and say, I am here and I want to move there. So there are various models. My favorite model I choose is CMMI, and using the NIST CSF and CMMI probably brings the most common use. But there's C2M2, there's Lean Sigma. There is enough and more models that are available. Now, each of these models have their strengths to specific purposes. For the general practitioner's viewpoint in security, I find CMMI's adoption much more simple to adopt and to take it and to provide and to give a particular scoring aspect to that. The process is very, very simple. Define your assessment process. How are you going to measure? Measure your effectiveness quotient. Do I have an email security? You may have yes. To what? Then for that you can go back to the grades of controls within that to say what you're going to implement. And once that is done, implement it, monitor, and report diligently. And the reporting aspect is extremely crucial here. We have, as in the 30 years that I worked, last 5 years in an entrepreneur, engaged with about 600 plus clients, hardly a handful of them have a metricized scorecard-based security reporting system. And I'm not saying the rest don't have a security practice in place. While everyone here probably is aware of it, of all these, the ability to push yourself, it is like pushing your neck and giving your axe to that for any time to be cut. But the benefit that you get here is people start believing your scorecard, and that will effectively transform to your company's better security posture in the days to come. Simple, provide insights regarding information securities program. It identifies the control deficiencies, so you clearly know at every point in time that, look, my current web security program is at 2.3. By September next year, my plan is to move it to 4. These are the 4 initiatives that I'm going to take to move that. And if you keep reporting that, the job is simple. Otherwise, what happens is there will be an incident and there will be a question from the senior management, what happened to this? I keep spending in security all the time, but I never get that. But you can arrest a whole lot of those discussions by making this in a very, very concerted manner. So this is just a sample option. So what does it? So this has no relevance to any company. But if you want to go ahead and say in security monitoring, this is the current program for a company. So they have partial SIM integrations. They are doing some triaging. Threat hunting is practically negligent. They don't have any feeds for threat intel. They have a SOC monitoring in place. This gets a score of 1.7 in a scale of 1 to 5 or 0 to 5. Now, where do you move from here? At the minimum, you can set baselines to say that you need to be anywhere between, for you to reach 3.5, these are the 14 things that you need to do and build where you need to move on. That's your opportunity list, that's your budget list, and that's your hiring strategy. Everything stems from ensuring that you put yourself into that and get that in place. Same thing for every other domain of security. Consolidate this into a large program to say where your current state is and define where your target state is. Now, you can follow again whatever practice that you want to have. You can follow NIST framework. NIST framework is a beautiful framework. You can adopt that almost to any organization. Take that approach and make that reporting. Define your current, measure your current state, define your target state, and then build your opportunity list and move up the security posture for your company. So that's all that we've been doing for various clients, various customers, that we've been doing tailored solutions, deep expertise, very flexible and agile, a company that believes in making security, the life of the security practitioners easy, and doing that every day and being a trusted security partner. I don't want to, this is the core of our services. We are a GRC solutions company. Anything and everything in security standards and security requirements, we handle that. Technical services, which includes the offensive security testing, API testing, configuration reviews, code reviews, red team, threat modeling. We have done a whole lot of work. In the core of consulting, risk assessment, business continuity, data flow analysis, and of course what we talked about, maturity model. This is the work that we have done in various clients and done that. An a la carte of all this service provided in managed security services, a very focused services for the FinSec market, done that, and cloud security assessments, which is again a new trend as people move into the cloud. Those are things that we've done over and over again to many companies. So I leave with this, and metricized security is a sure shot way to improve your security posture in your company. I'll be happy to take any questions.
We'll take one quick question. Okay, I guess we don't have any, but we have their booth the next door. Please feel free to visit the booth.
Thank you very much.